The vast Concordat fleet stretched across the edge of human territory, a wall of metal and power. Thousands of ships arranged themselves in perfect battle formation, their weapons ready. This fleet represented 12 alien species, all united against the human threat. Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Vigilance *. His tall, insect-like body moved restlessly back and forth as he waited. His antenna twitched, showing his nervous energy. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring space around them. "Any sign of the human armada?" Tejo asked, his voice sharp. The Concordat intelligence had warned them. Humans were dangerous. Humans were conquerors. The raids on the outer human colonies should have provoked their full military response by now. Commander Hannah, his second-in-command, studied her scanner display. Unlike the Admiral, she had smooth blue skin and 4 eyes that blinked in sequence as she worked. "Nothing yet, Admiral," she reported. Her fingers moved over the controls. "Wait, there's something approaching." Tejo moved to her station quickly. Finally, "How many ships?" Hannah adjusted her scanners, then looked up with confusion in all 4 eyes. "A single vessel, Admiral." "Impossible," Tejo muttered. "Check again." "They would never send just 1 ship." "I've checked 3 times, Hannah insisted. "Only 1 ship approaches." Around the bridge, other officers confirmed the reading. Just 1 human vessel, moving toward them at a steady speed. It was small compared to the Concordat warships. The scanners showed limited weapon systems. "It must be a trick," said Weapons Officer Dury. "Perhaps it carries some new weapon." "Or it could be a diversion," suggested Navigator Suho. "The real fleet could be approaching from another direction." Admiral Tejo ordered full scans of all surrounding space. Nothing. No sign of any other human ships. The lone human vessel continued its approach. It did not zigzag or use evasive patterns. It did not power up weapons. It simply came forward, directly toward the center of the Concordat fleet. "They're hailing us," Hannah announced, surprise clear in her voice. The entire bridge fell silent. This was not how battle began. "Put it on screen," Tejo ordered after a moment. The large view screen at the front of the bridge activated. The face of a human appeared. Female, with short black hair and steady dark eyes. She wore a simple gray uniform with minimal markings. "This is Captain Ju Kim of the human spaceship Defiance *. I come as an emissary of Earth to discuss terms of peace." Admiral Tejo stared at the human face. His mandibles clicked together in the gesture his species made when confused. "Peace," he finally said. "Your colonies were raided. Your people were taken. Your resources stolen. And you speak of peace." The human captain nodded. "Yes, that is exactly why I am here." "Where is your fleet?" demanded Tejo. "Why do you come alone?" "Because we do not wish to intimidate or threaten," Captain Kim replied. "I have been authorized to negotiate on behalf of all humanity. My ship carries no significant weapons. I come in peace and good faith." Weapons Officer Dury moved close to the Admiral. "It must be a trap," he whispered. "Humans are known to be tricky. Perhaps the ship carries a planet-killer weapon." Tejo raised a hand to silence him, still watching the human on the screen. "You expect me to believe Earth sent a single, nearly unarmed ship to face our entire fleet?" he asked. "Yes," replied Captain Kim simply. "That is exactly what happened. May I come aboard to discuss terms? I am prepared to shuttle over alone if that would make you more comfortable." Tejo turned away from the screen and gathered his senior officers. They spoke in hushed tones. "It must be a trap," Dury insisted again. "But what kind of trap could one small ship spring against our entire fleet?" asked Hannah. "Perhaps they have new technology we don't understand," suggested Suho. "Or perhaps," said Hannah quietly, "they truly want peace." Admiral Tejo considered all options. If this was a trick, he would be remembered as the fool who fell for it. If this was genuine, and he destroyed the lone ship, he would be remembered as the one who ruined a chance for peace. He turned back to the screen. Captain Kim, you may dock your shuttle in Bay 4. You may bring one assistant. You will be searched for weapons. I will come alone, the human replied. And I carry no weapons. Thank you, Admiral. I look forward to meeting you face to face. The transmission ended. Admiral Taejo looked around at his officers. Maintain battle readiness, he ordered. Keep all weapons locked on that ship. If they make any suspicious moves, destroy them immediately. As he left the bridge to meet this strange human ambassador, Taejo felt deeply uneasy. In all the histories of the 12 species of the Concordat, no story told of an enemy who responded to attacks with a peace offer. Either humans were the cleverest enemies they had ever faced, or they were something else entirely, something the Concordat had never encountered before. The shuttle bay of the Concordat flagship was filled with armed guards. Soldiers from all 12 alien species stood in perfect rows, weapons ready. The air felt tense as the small human shuttle landed smoothly in the center of the bay. Everyone expected a delegation of humans to emerge, perhaps with security guards or assistants. Instead, when the door opened, a single figure appeared. Captain Joo Kim stepped out alone. She paused at the top of the ramp, looking calmly at the assembled forces. She wore a simple gray uniform with only a small Earth insignia on the collar. No medals, no decorations, no signs of rank except for 2 small pins at her shoulders. Admiral Taejo moved forward with 4 armed guards. His tall, insect-like body towered over the human woman. His mandibles clicked as he studied her. "You came alone?" he asked, antennae twitching in surprise. Ju nodded. "Yes, just me." The security team approached with scanning devices. They moved the scanners up and down her body, checking for hidden weapons or technology. "She carries nothing," reported the lead security officer. "No weapons, no armor, not even a communication device." Taejo's mandibles clicked more rapidly, showing his confusion and suspicion. "You came aboard completely unarmed?" he asked. Ju smiled slightly. "I come seeking peace," she replied in a calm voice. Weapons would contradict that message. This answer seemed to confuse Taejo even more. He gestured for her to follow him. As they walked through the massive ship, crew members stopped to stare at the human. Many had never seen one before, except in recordings. They arrived at the Grand Council chamber. Representatives from all 12 species of the Concordat sat around a large curved table. Each species had their own special chair designed for their unique body types. Some floated in bubbles of liquid, others perched on high stools. A few reclined on heated rocks. Captain Ju was given a simple metal chair in the center of the room, where everyone could see her. "This is the human representative," announced Admiral Taejo. "Captain Ju Kim of Earth. She has come to discuss peace terms." The chamber erupted in multiple languages as the council members expressed surprise, disbelief, and suspicion. Taejo raised his upper limbs, calling for silence. "Captain Kim, you may address the council," he said. Ju stood and looked around the room, making eye contact with each representative. Then she did something unexpected. She spoke to each member in their own language, offering traditional greetings that only someone familiar with their cultures would know. To the reptilian saurians, she made the head-lowering gesture of respect. To the gaseous vapora, she modulated her voice to create the harmonics of formal introduction. To the crystalline lumina, she stood where the light would refract through her at the proper ceremonial angle. One by one, she acknowledged each species in a way that showed deep understanding of their customs. The council members grew quiet, many showing signs of surprise or confusion. Councillor Dune, a large reptilian with emerald scales, rose from his heated rock. His scales flared out around his neck in a sign of agitation. "How do you know so much about us?" he demanded, his forked tongue flicking. "How do you know our customs, our greetings? We have never had formal contact with humans before." Ju smiled. "We've been studying you for years, all 12 species of the Concordat. Your languages, your customs, your histories, your biology. We want to understand, not destroy. Study us. For what purpose? Asked a floating representative of the aquatic mer. To prepare for this day, replied Juwu. The day when we would need to talk to you as equals. A small furry representative named Kel leaned forward. And why should we trust humans? Our intelligence reports say you are violent, territorial, and dangerous. Juwu looked directly at the small alien. Because I came alone, she answered simply. Because we sent our smallest ship, not our battle fleet. She turned to address the entire council. Think about what that means. If we wanted war, we would have sent warships. Instead, we sent me. One person, unarmed, on a ship with minimal defenses. The council chamber grew quiet as they considered her words. Perhaps it is a trick, suggested one of the representatives. Perhaps you want us to lower our guard. Juwu shook her head. If we wanted to attack, we would have done so already. We know your fleet positions. We know your weaknesses. She paused. Just as you know, we have been building our forces since your raids on our colonies. This statement caused a stir among the council members. They had expected humans to be angry about the raids. They had expected retaliation. This calm offer of peace made no sense to them. What do humans want? Asked Admiral Tejo finally. Understanding, replied Juwu, and an end to hostilities before they truly begin. The raids on our colonies were a mistake, one we are willing to forgive if they stop now. The council members looked at each other, unsure how to respond to this unexpected approach. In their collective histories, no species had ever responded to aggression with such a peaceful gesture. We will need time to discuss this, said Taijo. Juwu nodded. Of course, I am prepared to wait. But remember, I came alone as a sign of trust. I hope you will return that trust in kind. As she was escorted from the chamber, the council erupted in heated debate. No one noticed the small smile on Captain Juwu's face as the doors closed behind her. Commander Minho waited until the middle of the sleep cycle to carry out his secret mission. Most of the Concordat flagship was quiet. The lights were dimmed. Only essential crew remained at their stations. Minho moved through the empty corridors with purpose. No one questioned him. As the head of intelligence operations, he had access to all areas of the ship. He entered a restricted section near the center of the vessel and approached a sealed door. He placed his hand on the scanner, then looked into the eye reader. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, 3 technicians waited. They operated the most advanced scanning equipment in the Concordat fleet. These were not the standard sensors used by the regular crew. These were special devices designed to penetrate any shielding and reveal the true nature of enemy ships. Is everything ready? Minho asked. The lead technician nodded. Yes, Commander. We have locked onto the human vessel. We can begin deep scans immediately. Then do it, ordered Minho. I want to know everything about that ship. The technicians activated their equipment. The room filled with the soft hum of powerful machines. Holographic displays appeared, showing different views of the human ship Defiance as it floated peacefully in space. For 3 hours, they scanned every inch of the vessel. They mapped its structure, analyzed its power systems, and tried to identify its weapons and defenses. As the data accumulated, the technicians grew increasingly confused. Commander, these readings make no sense, said the lead technician, pointing to the display. According to our scans, the ship has almost no offensive weapons, just a few small point defense lasers, barely enough to destroy incoming missiles. Minho frowned. That can't be right. No species would send an unarmed ship into enemy territory. The weapons are minimal, confirmed the technician, but the defensive systems, they're like nothing we've ever seen. The displays showed detailed images of the ship's hull. It was covered in a strange material that didn't match any known substance in the Concordat database. The outer layer seems to be some kind of energy-absorbing material. explained the technician. And there are multiple layers beneath it, each with different properties. It's extraordinary. Minho studied the readings for a long time. Then he contacted Admiral Tejo directly. An hour later, Minho stood before the Admiral in his private command center. He had brought all the scanned data with him. "Admiral, these readings make no sense," he reported, showing Tejo the holographic displays. "The ship has minimal offensive capabilities, but its defensive systems are extraordinary, beyond anything we've ever seen." Tejo's antenna twitched rapidly as he examined the data. "A trick," he hissed. "It must be a trick. Perhaps their weapons are simply hidden from our scans." "We used our best equipment," Minho insisted. "If there were hidden weapons, we would have found them." "Then what is their plan?" demanded Tejo. "Why come here with a ship that cannot fight?" Before Minho could answer, an alarm sounded. They rushed to the main bridge. "What's happening?" Tejo demanded as he entered. "The Varian ships are breaking formation," reported Commander Hanna. "They're moving toward the human vessel." On the main screen, they could see 3 Varian cruisers approaching the Defiance *. General Rook, the leader of the Varian contingent, appeared on a side screen. "What are you doing, Rook?" Tejo demanded. "Testing the humans," replied the Varian general. His scaled face showed no emotion. "I'm tired of talks and negotiations. Let's see how peaceful they really are when threatened." "Stand down immediately," ordered Tejo. "The human is here under our protection for diplomatic talks." "Too late," said Rook. "The test has begun." On the screen, they watched as the Varian ships fired energy weapons at the Defiance *. Bright beams of destructive energy shot through space toward the small human vessel. The entire bridge crew fell silent, watching in horror. This unprovoked attack could start a war. But something unexpected happened. As the energy beams hit the Defiance *, they simply disappeared. The beams touched the hull and were absorbed, like water soaking into a sponge. There was no explosion, no damage. The ship remained intact. The Varians fired again. Multiple weapons, higher power settings. The result was the same. The energy was absorbed without any visible effect. Most surprising of all, the Defiance * did not return fire. It made no aggressive moves. It simply floated in space, absorbing the attack. After several minutes, the Varian ship stopped firing. "Impossible," whispered someone on the bridge. Admiral Tejo turned as the bridge door opened. Captain Juu Kim entered, escorted by 2 guards. Her face showed disappointment, but not anger. "Your ships are attacking mine," she said calmly. Tejo's mandibles clicked rapidly. General Rook acted without authorization. "The attack will stop immediately." "It's already stopped," Juu observed. "Your weapons had no effect." She walked to the view screen, looking at her undamaged ship. "That was unnecessary," she said quietly. "The Defiance * was designed to absorb energy weapons. We could have simply told you that." The bridge was silent. No one knew what to say. This technology was beyond anything the Concordat possessed. "Why?" Tejo finally asked. "Why build such defenses but no weapons? It makes no sense." Juu turned to face him. For the first time, they could see a deep sadness in her eyes. "Because we nearly destroyed ourselves once," she answered. 200 years ago, humans fought a war using weapons so powerful they almost wiped out all life on Earth. When we finally went to the stars, we made a choice. We would not bring our capacity for destruction with us. We chose a different path." She looked around at the stunned alien faces. The Defiance * represents that choice. It cannot destroy, but it cannot be destroyed either. It's a symbol of what we hope to become. The Concordat Council met in emergency session after the failed attack on the Defiance *. The room buzzed with nervous conversation. Many representatives glanced at the empty Varian seat with clear disapproval. Admiral Tejo called the meeting to order. We must decide how to proceed with the humans. Their ship survived an attack that should have destroyed it. This technology changes everything. We should steal it, suggested one counselor. Force them to reveal their secrets. Or perhaps we should destroy the ship now, while we still can, said another, before more human vessels arrive with this technology. Commander Minho stood. Our scans show the Defiance has no self-destruct systems. If we boarded it, we could examine this technology directly. Taizhou considered this suggestion. After much debate, the council agreed on a plan. The next morning, Captain Zhu Kim was summoned to meet with Admiral Taizhou in his private chamber. Large windows showed the stars and the distant shape of the Defiance floating peacefully. Captain Kim, began Taizhou formally. The council has concerns about your ship's defensive capabilities. Zhu Wu nodded. That's understandable. I'm happy to answer any questions. Words aren't enough, said Taizhou. We need proof of your peaceful intentions. What kind of proof would satisfy you? Taizhou's antenna straightened, a sign of determination in his species. Surrender your ship, he demanded. Prove your peaceful intentions by allowing our teams to inspect it completely. The room fell silent. Everyone expected the human to refuse. Such a demand was extreme. No captain would willingly surrender their vessel to a potential enemy. To everyone's surprise, Zhu nodded. Very well. I'll have my crew prepare for your inspection teams. Taizhou's mandibles clicked rapidly in surprise. You agree? Just like that? Yes, said Zhu. If this will help build trust between us, then it's worth doing. Commander Minho, who stood nearby, looked suspicious. This is too easy, he whispered to Taizhou. It must be a trap. But Zhu heard him. It's not a trap, Commander. We truly want peace. If inspecting our ship helps achieve that goal, then please, inspect it. 4 hours later, 3 inspection teams boarded the Defiance. Each team included technical experts, security officers, and diplomatic observers. Zhu personally guided Admiral Taizhou and Commander Minho through the ship. The human vessel was unlike any ship in the Concordat fleet. Its interior was simple but comfortable. Plants grew in many areas. The crew quarters were modest but pleasant. Most surprising was how few crew members were aboard. Just 12 humans operated the entire ship. Where are your soldiers? Asked Minho as they walked through the quiet corridors. We don't have any, replied Zhu. Everyone aboard is a scientist, engineer, or diplomat. They visited the bridge, the science labs, and the medical facilities. Everything was open to them. The human crew answered all questions politely. Finally, they'd reached the engine room, the heart of the ship. Here, Taizhou hoped to discover the secrets of the amazing defensive technology. As they entered the large chamber, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. The human crew looked surprised. What's happening? Demanded Taizhou, his hand moving to his weapon. Before Zhu could answer, her communication device activated. Captain, security alert in section C3. An intruder has placed something on the auxiliary power couplings. The engine room erupted in activity. Human crew members moved quickly but calmly to their stations. Zhu turned to Taizhou. Please come with me, she said urgently. They rushed through the corridors, following the sound of shouting. They turned a corner and found a chaotic scene. Security forces from the Concordat had surrounded someone in a maintenance area. To Taizhou's shock, he recognized the intruder, a Varian officer. The Varian held a small device in his clawed hand. Even from a distance, Taizhou could tell it was an explosive. Stand down, soldier, Taizhou ordered. The Varian's eyes widened in surprise at seeing his admiral. But instead of obeying, he snarled. No, these humans are a threat. Their technology must be destroyed. You're making a mistake, said Zhu calmly, stepping forward. Let's talk about this. Stay back, human. The Varian raised the explosive device. One more step, and I'll detonate it right here. One of the Concordat guards moved forward slowly. "Put it down, soldier. That's an order." The Varian's eyes darted around wildly. Suddenly, he lunged at the guard with his claws extended. Everything happened very fast after that. As the Varian attacked, Ju moved with startling speed. She stepped between them, caught the Varian's arm, and with a quick twist, forced him to the ground. The explosive device fell from his hand and rolled away. A human crew member quickly contained it in a special container. The entire incident took less than 5 seconds. The Varian lay on the floor, pinned by Ju but unhurt. Taejo stared in amazement. The human captain had moved faster than seemed possible. Her technique had been flawless. "You could have killed him," Taejo observed as security took the Varian away. "That wasn't necessary," Ju replied, brushing off her uniform. "He's confused and afraid, not evil." Commander Minho studied her with new eyes. "Your reflexes, they're enhanced." Ju shook her head. "No, just well-trained. All human diplomatic personnel receive extensive defensive training." "Diplomatic personnel," repeated Minho. "You mean you're not a military captain?" "I'm both," explained Ju. "In peaceful missions, we don't separate those roles." Taejo's antenna twitched thoughtfully. "You said it wasn't necessary to kill them, just as it wasn't necessary to bring your fleet." He paused. "You mean you actually have warships, real military vessels?" Juwoo's smile was sad. "Of course, but we chose not to bring them. That's the point you've been missing." As they returned to the main part of the ship, Taejo felt deeply confused. Everything he thought he knew about humans was being challenged. They had powerful defenses but chose not to bring weapons. They had a fleet but sent only one ship. Their captain could fight but chose not to harm. Nothing about these humans made sense according to the rules of warfare he had always followed. The Great Hall of the Concordat flagship had been transformed. The usual military displays were removed. The harsh lighting was softened. Plants from a dozen worlds decorated the space. At the center stood a large round table, a symbol that all who sat there were equals. For 3 days, representatives from Earth and the Concordat had worked to create a peace agreement. The discussions were sometimes difficult. Old fears were not easily set aside. But slowly, understanding grew between them. Now, on the final day, leaders from both sides gathered to sign the historic document. Captain Ju Kim represented Earth. Admiral Taejo led the Concordat delegation. The room was filled with officials and observers from all 12 alien species. Ju wore a formal blue uniform for the occasion. It was simple but elegant, with the Earth insignia displayed proudly on her chest. She stood tall as she read the key points of the agreement. Earth agrees to share defensive technology with the Concordat nations, she announced in a clear voice. This includes our hull materials that absorb energy weapons, our shield systems, and our medical technologies. She paused, looking around the room. However, as stated in Section 12, weapons systems are explicitly excluded from this exchange. Earth will not share offensive technology of any kind. Some representatives nodded in approval. Others looked disappointed. The Varian section remained notably empty after their representative was removed for the sabotage attempt. Admiral Taejo stepped forward. The Concordat agrees to recognize all human territories as sovereign space. We will establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. All raids and aggressive actions against human colonies will cease immediately. One by one, the representatives came forward to sign the document. When the last signature was placed, the room erupted in applause. Servers brought in food and drinks from both human and Concordat worlds. The formal ceremony transformed into a celebration. During this time, Admiral Taejo approached Captain Ju. They moved to a quiet corner near a large window that showed the stars outside. "I must confess something," said Taejo, his voice low. "When you first arrived, I was certain it was a trick. I expected to destroy your ship and fight your fleet." Ju smiled. "I know. That's exactly why we chose this approach." "I still don't understand," he admitted. Your species clearly has the capability to wage war. Your defensive technology alone proves your advancement. Why choose this approach? Why risk everything on a peaceful gesture that might have failed? Because true strength isn't measured by destructive capacity, Ju replied. She looked out at the stars. It's measured by what you're willing to risk for peace. Taejo's antenna moved thoughtfully. And your people sent you, alone, risking everything. Yes, Ju nodded. We wanted to meet as potential friends, not conquered enemies. If we had sent our fleet, you would have seen only our military power. You would have missed seeing who we really are. And who are you? Asked Taejo. Explorers, scientists, dreamers. She smiled. Yes, we can fight when necessary, but we prefer not to. Taejo's antenna drooped slightly in a gesture his species used to show respect. And the *Defiance*. Why just one ship? Because, Ju said with a gentle smile, sometimes the strongest statement is the quietest one. We didn't want to intimidate you with our fleet. We wanted you to see us, truly see us, as we are. Across the room, Commander Minho was deep in conversation with Dr. Sunki, the human ship's chief scientist. They were discussing the possibility of creating a joint research station where both species could work together. Your approach to science is fascinating, said Minho. You seek to understand the universe without trying to control it. Dr. Sunki nodded. That's a very human perspective. We learned long ago that control is often an illusion. The celebration continued late into the night. Stories were shared. Music from Earth was played. Slowly, the stiffness between the species melted away. The next morning, it was time for the *Defiance* to depart. Most of the Concordat leadership gathered to say farewell. Captain Ju shook hands with Admiral Taejo in the human custom. This is just the beginning, she said. Next time, we hope you'll visit Earth. I look forward to it, replied Taejo. After the human shuttle departed, many returned to their duties, but Commander remained on the observation deck, watching as the *Defiance* grew smaller in the distance. Admiral Taejo joined her there. They're remarkable, aren't they? Hannah said quietly. I expected humans to be monsters based on our intelligence reports. We were told they were aggressive, dangerous, unpredictable. They are all those things, said Taejo. But they've learned to channel those qualities differently than we expected. They taught us something about courage, continued Hannah. Not the courage to fight, but the courage to trust. Beside her, Admiral Taejo nodded. They expected an army, but a single human ship showed up, and that made all the difference. As the *Defiance* activated its engines and disappeared into the darkness of space, news of the peace agreement was already spreading throughout the Concordat worlds. Many received it with surprise, some with relief, others with suspicion. But on the flagship, those who had met Captain Ju understood something profound had changed. They had prepared for war but found friendship instead. They had expected humanity to be like themselves, driven by fear and the need for power. Instead, they discovered a species brave enough to come in peace, even when peace seemed impossible. The end.